Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Hibbinger. I'm getting ready to start chapter 12 of Monster Street, The Boy Who Cried Werewolf. Chapter 12, The Boy Who Lied. A few minutes later, Gramps walked out of the barn, scratching his head. He looked disturbed by what he had seen. Max and Grammy stood nearby, waiting. "I told you to lock up the barn last night," Grammy said to Gramps, her tone harsher than usual. "I did lock it up," Gramps said. "Something must have gotten in." Max's palms were sweaty, and he could feel his heart pounding all the way down to his fingertips. His adventure in the woods hadn't been a nightmare after all. He knew good and well what had invaded the barn and eaten the chickens. And he knew it was his fault, but he was too afraid to tell Gramps. Just then a giant creature appeared around the corner of the barn. "Ah!" Max yelped, jumping backward in fright. Gramps and Grammy turned and saw the large and furry thing standing there, with black eyes, a long snout, and sharp teeth. But it wasn't a werewolf. It was a bloodhound, and it was limping. Max noticed the silver dog tag gleaming from its neck. He held the dog still while he read it. The inscription on the tag said, "My name is Petunia. If lost, please return to the Howlers at 1985 Wolf County Road." "This is Petunia?" Max mused aloud, gazing upon the enormous dog. For some reason, he had imagined a dog with a name like Petunia to be much smaller than this colossal creature before him. Gramps knelt beside Max and examined the dog's leg and snout. "She's all scratched up," he said. "Maybe it was a raccoon," Max suggested, attempting to coax Gramps away from the truth. "Or maybe Petunia was the one who ate the chickens." Gramps grunted in disagreement. "These marks are too big to be a coon's. That's the mark of a..." Gramps paused. His eyes narrowed and he turned to Max. "Did you cross into the forest last night, boy?" Max felt his heart drop into his stomach, split in two, and each half down his hollow legs and settle on his feet like weights. "No," he lied, baffled by how Gramps could know such a thing. Gramps eyed him suspiciously. Max tried to hide his fear. "You know what they say," Grammy just jetted, trying to break the tension. "The best way to keep a dog from barking in your front yard is to put him in your backyard." Neither Max nor Gramps laughed. Grammy continued, "Gramps, why don't you take the dog next door? And Max, why don't you come and help me clean inside for a bit? The cellar needs a good going through." She leaned into Gramps and whispered something in his ear that Max sensed he wasn't supposed to hear. "We need to keep a closer eye out tonight. We can't wait much longer." Gramps nodded. Grammy held out her wrinkly hand to Max and he took it into his own. He walked beside her back to the house, stepping upon each stone of the leaf-covered pathway. Before Max walked inside the cabin, he glanced over his shoulder at Gramps. The old man was standing near the barn, staring back at him, a secret locked in his eyes.